look like a robot.
It's a real fake smile.
It's a real fake smile.
It's a real smile TM.
Real smile TM.
Ding.
All right, we're live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This is Jumpstart, a salon with Tom Hartman and Peter Hartman. A salon is where you
And
get
I'm
to...
Tom Hartman.
Yes. Thank you. A little late there. You'll be able to listen to two people have a conversation, and you'll be edified in the process. You're going to be learning in the process. Jumpstart is an organic learning series that we're doing here that is supposed to help you in business, understanding life more, and understanding yourself. So we're going to jump right into it. Today we're going to be talking about side hustles and why they're mandatory, go-getter attitude, and the future of employment. But first... Hey, you doing, Tom?
Doing well. I mean, just yesterday we did our last stream, and you would think, oh, okay, I'd be tired of talking about this. But as soon as we were done it, I was thinking to myself, oh, I did the thing that Peter talks about, where it's like all robot, all theory and no practical thing. So I was like, today, I'm going to make sure that people can leave with, I'm going to use today to translate everything I said yesterday.
Well, I don't think it's too robotic. It felt like professorial, but that's good. That's kind of the content we're looking for, and for the course that we're going to be putting together. Once we put it together,
did I tell you that I'm sort of like over this word content? Content is like folks or spin or whatever. It's a word that before used to be something like to just refer to what you're doing as content is the same thing as referred to it as bait, as a hook. Now people say, "Oh, I need to have a clickbaity title," and you go, "No, that's a bad thing." Like having a spin room is a bad thing. Having the assumption that what you're doing is just putting something out there for the sake of getting people is a bad thing. We're providing entertainment, education, and this whole idea of content and folks and all that and spin. I'm not on board, Peter.
Is it content? Is it content for the sake of content, or is it something good? And if it's something good, maybe we shouldn't call it content anymore. We should be, my offering.
Well, imagine you're at a restaurant and they're like, "Oh, we got really good content here." It's like, what are you talking about? Oh, we really put out some good content. Oh man, those people really love that content on that table. It's like you're just reducing the whole thing to the idea of like just give these pigs their slop to eat. No, thank you. No, thank you. So I'm putting an end to this, Peter. Content is over. It's passé.
It's passé.
Yes.
All right. Well, now I'm going to use it like it's retro. I'm gonna bring it back. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, you can use it with air quotes. If you go content, then it's fine.
Content.
For lack of a better word, content.
Content. All right. Good. All right. So we were talking on the phone earlier, as we do. I mean, we do it less and less now. I'm on the phone with Tom, and it's like, okay, shut up. I'm going to save it for the show. What do you want to talk about today, Tom? Oh, I really want to talk about the importance of having a side hustle, because in the future, I don't want to. Don't ruin it, okay? So here we are. Just a reminder to everybody, we're broadcasting on Facebook and on YouTube. But Facebook, this might even very well be the last one that we go live on Facebook. So if you like these Jumpstarts, if you like this content, head over to youtube.com/happyforchange.
These videos, these live stream videos.
This content. If you like this offering, go over to youtube.com/happyforchange. Hit subscribe. Hit that little bell so you get notified when we go live. And like a video when you're there. It really helps us. It really helps us when you subscribe to us. Some of you are already doing it, so we're very grateful about that. But we're going live to the Happy for Change audience because I wanted the audience to know, hey, I'm out here. We're here creating content. We're here trying to edify you. It's not all political stuff. It's not all crypto. It's multifaceted, right? So we're going to be having a conversation here for you, hopefully to entertain you, but also to expose you to ideas and concepts and things that really might help you today and in the future. Speaking about the future, Tom, you told me it's like necessary to have a side hustle, that in the coming days, weeks, months, years, everybody's going to need some type of side hustle. If you're not doing a side hustle, then you're going to be working for someone else's side hustle. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was trying to to sort of smooth out what I was saying yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about the idea that network effects, that you sort of want to be part of network effects, that you sort of want to future proof yourself against being replaced by AI, a cheaper worker, some type of machine. You need to make yourself more indispensable, and the way you do that, and to make sure that you're in an industry that's growing and has place for you down the line. Because the idea that you're to get a job and stay in the GM factory for the next 65 years, get your pension, and enjoy your retirement years in Cancun, that's not happening. And so I was saying that if you engage with technology, you engage with different type of network effects, that you will, or you make sure that the industry that you're in is growing over time, like we saw looking at Google Trends, or looking at pay scale, looking at various information that gives you a insight as to the longevity for your industry,
Mhm.
that you'd be better well suited. But it's hard for, like, I say that, but it's hard for people just to go like, okay, I'm going to go and look for a network effect, and how does my industry is my
That's right.
industry involved in a network effect? It's very difficult. So I was like, okay, what's the shorthand way? What's the shortcut in order to do this? Now, network effect might seem too fancy, but so think about it as community, because a community has that effect of a network effect, where the every new member of a community increases the amount of creativity, productivity, and connections available within that community. So just like I was saying that Facebook with 1,000 people is better than Facebook with one person, well, a town with 1,000 people is better than with one person, and an online community with 1,000 people is better than with one person. So engaging in a community, any community at all, that is trying to be productive in some way, either with information or entertainment, or yes, exactly, information or entertainment, is something that is worthwhile. And what I found with people is that they are completely oblivious to the sometimes vibrant communities that are available online. So, for example, if I'll talk to people, 1 out of 10 people I know are actively on Reddit with a Reddit account and subscribe to threads, in all sorts of different types of categories. Few people I know are they'll listen to a podcast, but are not involved within the community of that on Discord, on a Facebook group, or what have you. What you want to do
I
is
actually,
participate.
I've actually seen very recently this trend, at least with the tech community, where a tech reviewer stops in the middle of his thing and says, "Oh, by the way, 25% of you are subscribed to my channel, but
That's exactly right.
so please go ahead and subscribe." It was kind of weird and jarring, but it seems to be this important. Like it, people seem to not have this habit of subscribing to something, of joining a community of something that you might follow.
Because we're used to like watching a thing and just letting it live there. Like we have this sort of disconnection with, let's say you're watching a TV show that you really like. Well, you don't really have any expectation that you could directly interact with the stars on the show, or with the writers, or the technical staff. You're not expecting to be able to do that. But actually, on a podcast, you can. On the YouTube channel, you can. On content that you consume online,
Even
you
TV
can.
shows, you can, like,
Well,
you
I
go
mean,
to
the
the
expectation
stars
isn't
on.
there.
Well, the expectation isn't there, I think, for older generation like us and older. I
That's
think they
right.
don't have that. But young people, they go on Twitter and they're chatting with the star of the show. They're going into Reddit and answering AMAs. Like there, you can actually interact with the content creators.
Well, I mean more like, for example, um, so I interviewed Bob Morley from the 100 for Sitting in a Magazine a couple of years ago, and it was interesting how. So I asked him a question. What's one of your biggest fears, or whatever it was, and he said something like, "I don't like having my belly button touched." And I was like, "Oh wow,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
that was a crazy truth there." Now I remember um he was surprised. He was surprised because I'm sure he had seen thousands of people that day. His lines were long at the Comic Con that I was at, and he was very popular. But no one was asking him stuff like that. It was sign my thing. There was a distance to it. There's not this idea of camaraderie. Whereas, let's say for a podcast that you might be involved, that you might be listening to, you can actually have an ongoing conversation with these people. More importantly, you can actually become of use to them, of help to them. So, for example, Real Vision, the platform that I talk about often, that democratizes financial information, a lot of the people that they hire come from the community, because the people were so active in what they were saying were doing, showed an expertise or a penchant for something, and then they needed someone for that position, and they hired from there. I think a substantial number of the people who work for Real Vision come from the very community that they were a part of, and so that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that, where the community that you search out for communities, you participate with them with the intention of providing value, as you're extracting value from it. So you're not just listening to it, you're not just reading it. You go, okay, someone asked something, let me go help them. Someone's in the forums asking a question, let me go and answer that question. And I would do
Hmm.
that, like, when I started in web development. What I would do is on Saturdays, I would I would sit down and go onto forums for WordPress and just answer people's troubleshoot people's problems with plugins and their websites, just for free. I just answer questions, answer questions, answer questions. On Yahoo Answers, I would do that. Answer questions, answer questions, answer questions. And I was very surprised about the receptiveness of different people and the jobs I got because of it. And uh, like, I was actually part of that community, and I could be counted on. I was providing value, and I want people to do that more. I want people to go like, okay, I'm consuming this piece of content. Let me take the extra step to see if there's a community around it, and see how can I help that. Sometimes it's just as much as like, um, there's a reference inside of the episode to something that happened 2 years back in that community, but that you know. So someone goes, "Oh, where can I find information?" And you're pulling up the episode where in which that thing was discussed. Like, that's useful. That's valuable. You're surfacing information for people. So that's what I want. And doing that, you're directly part of a network effect. And by virtue of doing it, because you're doing it online, because you're doing it through using your technological devices, you're actually taking the steps to be more of a citizen of the internet, be a citizen of the web, and you'll find yourself down paths that you would never have expected using these devices that we're so used to just consuming. You'll actually be a part of it. You'll be using it as a window to dive into different types of realms. I want that. That's what I want people to try and do. So it's sort of like a tricky way of taking part in it.
So it's you're encouraging people to not only listen to the theory of network effects, but to immerse themselves into something so that they have the experience of experiencing a network effect, right? And
Yeah,
the
because
value
you're
that
not
you
going to
get from
do
the
it
community.
unless you're not going to understand the power of the network effect. Uh, because we talk about it, and it's almost like we're talking about it in aggregate. Like, this is the network effect over 10,000 people over this period of time. Okay, but what does that mean to you? What does that mean to an individual who's in there? And what does it matter to you? Like, is it that you get your job is more secure? Is it that you get more money? Is it that you have more fun in what you're doing? Like, you don't necessarily understand what is the benefit I'm going to get out of that. But when you participate in it, then it becomes clear. Um, the rally token is the rally community that I think I'm going to be referencing quite a bit, has really exposed me to this, because these are communities that if I buy their token, I see their token go up in value. Some of them go up in value. Some of them go down, and I get rid of them. But the ones who go up in value, I go, hey, why is it going up in value? Why are more people engaging in this community than in other ones? And then I go and I see what is the type of content that they're actually creating. And they're creating things I just never would have expected. Oh my god, this is super fascinating. And I can imagine being part of that community and really interacting with everybody in it. And the idea that you can interact with people in that community, use the token, and as you're holding the token, that it goes up in value, and it's going up in value in direct response to your participation in the community. I think that would really cement this idea of the value of community, of value of network effects in the minds of people. It's easy for me to say go participate in some Reddit thread. It's a whole other thing to say, like, okay, buy this coin, participate in the community, and see what happens. I think that's a more concrete call to action.
And when you're talking about tokens, coins, and rally, you're talking about tokenization, which is this idea that you can monetize all kinds of things, individuals,
It's not
platforms.
necessarily monetization. It's the representation of a physical thing in the digital world as a unique asset. Sometimes it
That's
means
what I
that it's
said. That's what I said.
well, sometimes it means that it's monetized. Sometimes it just means that it's referenced in that way, in the same way that like a deed is a representation of the plot of land. So
Hmm.
it's more like that, and in that way, value exists more. Like we were talking about today, like it's an idea that's really been in my mind. Like Peter, the changes I've had over the last couple of years of my old school hard money Austrian economics point of view to it's sort of like a different. It's not capitalism. It's not communism. It's like ultra capitalism mixed with ultra communism. It's like
Communism
how
or socialism? Communism is different. No? Or maybe not.
more like communism, because socialism is not exactly an ideology. It's a
Hmm.
method of redistributing wealth.
Right.
Communism has this idea of that it's post capitalism, right? Communism is, if you read Marx, it's that communism it comes is capitalism part two. After you have developed technology and productivity in a certain way, then now you redistribute it. This is what China has understood, that one of the failures that the previous uh, communist regimes had is that they went to communism too soon. I
Mm.
don't know if you know this. Like the Chinese realized, oh, we need some period of time, which is why for the last 15 years they've been building up their capitalism in order or to a certain extent capitalism in order to generate innovation and an industry. And now they're like, okay, great. Now let's close down and let's go completely communism on our people. Like they're trying to do what Marx is talking about. But that's I think that's doomed to failure because you need the dynamics of the incentive system of capitalism, right? But you sort of need the communism to offset the cronyism, the corruption that occurs in a capitalist system. But you don't want to switch like what's been going on in the United States, where you they switch from Democrat to Republican in their leadership every 4 years or every 8 years. What happens there is that it's a three-step forward, three steps back sort of thing, and so you have this vacillating thing where you can't make plans 20 years from now, right? This idea now that Biden wants to do tax people who have more than $1 million or whatever. It's sort of like, okay, wait, so I just built up this money over this period of time, and now I got to give half of it away to the government. It's like, why? What incentive does someone have now or can have now to do that? They'd be like, no, I want to be on the receiving end of that distribution, right? Why would
Hmm.
they ever want to create the productivity? But then if more people do that, eventually there's not enough to go around and then capitalism needs to come back again. So you don't want this back and forth system. What you want is this overlay where you have a layer of capitalism with a layer of socialism on top of it, that social or that communism churns the is the mechanism that redistributes wealth, but in a way that encourages people to be innovative, right? As opposed to there's no point in me trying because everyone else
Yeah,
is just
because
going to do it.
as I understand it, one of the failings of whether it's capitalism or communism is the corruption that happens, right? And so, in a capitalist system, in a free market system, money is flowing. Money is always flowing to where it's needed according to the values. But in crony capitalism, the money gets stagnant. You get these pools of stagnant wealth. Of money's not flowing. It's going through a centralized system of government that's being redistributed, not in the way that reflects the actual values of the people, but in a way that reflects the desires of the politician and the people who lobby them. And then in communism, you have the same thing that happens. You start out with this good spirit of sharing the wealth and helping people, but then the people who are in charge of giving out the wealth, they themselves get corrupted by their position by power, and then it gets everything becomes funny money again. But when we talk about tokenization and this new way, this new technologies, this new way for us to send our money, for us to demonstrate our value is a way that is less corruptible because it's decentralized. So if you have a decentralized capitalistic system and a decentralized communist system, like the real key here is decentralization that allows money to flow so you can correct imbalances that might occur and you can bypass systems that might be corrupt.
Yeah, so it's like the realization I had is that I had always said that America had turned into a lot of the West had turned into a service based economy. That America used to produce the best things in the world. I mean, especially technology wise, used to produce the best things in the world, and then and that's where a lot of their wealth came from. And so, if you wanted a good TV, you wanted a good car, you bought America. And then because of monetary policy, jobs got exported to the lowest bidder in third world countries, and then those became the baskets of productivity. And so America turned into the service based economy, where what was it like 75% of jobs are in the service industry. They're not producing anything. And I thought to
Mm-hmm.
myself, well, this will collapse under its own weight because you need a civilization that produces in order to have any sort of wealth in that civilization. But then the reason I thought that is that I conflated the idea of producing a physical good as the only means of producing productivity. And I thought the customer service agent or the YouTuber or whatever it is that are just providing ephemeral services, that they weren't actually generating any productivity. Well, now I'm not sure I think that anymore. I think what was going on is that we're having a type of productivity that was not being quantified, right? The help that people were providing other people and the services that people were providing to other people at best was monetizable through advertising, right?
Mm-hmm.
People had to make ad deals in order to make their in a sense non-productive endeavor now profitable. Then you got stuff like Patreon, right? Where there was less of this advertising and more of the direct connection between the consumer of the information and entertainment with the actual producer of it. And then a weird thing happened. You had a development of expertise. There are people who are able to provide more information about how resources can be allocated. You had cosplayers who were making better costumes and understanding how to use their materials in order to make better things. You had software that was being developed in a way that wasn't being developed before. You had this idea you might have heard of like drop shipping, right? Where people act as middlemen and they instead of them buying things and storing it inside of a warehouse to then sell to other people locally, what they do is that their job is to advertise this product and you buy from them and an order is placed in China which then delivers that product to the client. And so I was like, oh, who needs that middleman? Well, the consumer needed them because they weren't going to the Chinese website in order to get this information, right? They needed that mechanism. That person was providing an actual service, and that person over there producing the good in China is actually producing something they would not have been able to produce this otherwise. And then it sort of like hit me, oh my god, I've literally had the division of countries in my mind as a real thing. Like it's not a real thing. It's not that America has no productivity and other places that has a productivity. It's one world
So
where
globalization is what you're
it's
talking about?
well, it's interconnectedness. Globalization is the effect of one culture being exported into another, but it's more that we were connected, and so of course the product doesn't have to come from Indiana and go to the person in North Carolina. It can come from China. Why not? Like the division between countries became less important because it was the web that created this layer that allowed things something far away to feel like it's closer by. And once you
Mm-hmm.
do that, then you go, well, you have to measure the productivity of the planet. And when you measure the productivity of the planet versus the the money supply, then you realize there is no imbalance. It looks like an imbalance if you only measure it in the United States or any given country, but it's not an imbalance if you consider all the productivity that's generated by the planet. Like we don't we're not counting in our GDP apps Excel spreadsheet that allowed people to do calculations and macros and calculations faster than they could on a calculator or an abacus or whatever the hell they were using. We're not counting that within GDP. The information that someone's providing, the education information that someone's providing as a 10-minute thing in a 1 hour YouTube video, that is the equivalent information that someone might have had to sit in a class for 6 months in a college in order to understand. Like, we're not counting that. So there's actually far more productivity on this planet now than we ever had before, and in that sense, we haven't monetized nearly enough of the value that we're creating. So this idea that we're printing too much money, I go on to myself, hey, wait a second. I don't think we are. In fact, I think we have a lack of money, in the same way that the gold standard in some ways held back productivity because we didn't have that divisibility of it. We couldn't divide it enough. I don't want to go to all the details as to why I've come to that conclusion, but because when gold coins were first created, there was a problem. You can have a tiny gold coin, gold coin that was worth 6 months' wages, and so you couldn't transact with it. And it was so dangerous. Literally, it would be the size.
Gold.
Well, it would be the size of half of your fingernail, like, and it would be ding, and you're like, that was enough money to feed a family for 2 months. And so you had this divisibility problem.
Well, did they use copper? Didn't they use bronze and silver and other metals?
Yeah, that's where more denominations came. So we've always had in the monetary sphere this issue of divisibility. We never had anything that could be infinitely divisible. Your seashells, at some point, you're not getting any tinier. And so now in the digital age, we finally have something that's infinitely divisible.
And there's not just divisible. Trust is the other aspect there. It has to be divisible and verifiable.
Exactly, because of the blockchain. And so now we're going to be able to tag value onto productive means or productive endeavors that we couldn't have before. We just couldn't have before.
I love that. So when it comes to side hustles, what it sounds like you're saying is that it might very well become easier to get paid for your side hustle.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, we can very clearly see a situation where it's going to be weird if someone had one job. It's like, you're just doing this one thing, you're all the time. You're not doing anything else. Like, it'll be strange. It'll be like when we.
But what if that one job? What if that one job is the thing that you really like to do? Like, I can imagine people having one job,
but it won't be an expression of all their interests. It's like if someone said all I had is one interest. I'm not saying that's
because it'll be so easy to monetize things. It'll be strange to not do it. You might even be able to monetize things just within your own personal social network. Like, families themselves might have tokens. Someone in the family is doing well. You're like, hey, you're gonna buy Tom's token. All the cousins and everybody buy Tom's token because Tom is doing well. And so amongst your friends, you'll be like, hey, it's whoever is the most productive in here is adding to our social circle, is adding value to us. So you might be tokenizing that. So going out for at a party is still a money making opportunity, because this person might be entertaining at this party. This person, we really want Jacob to come to this party, because when Jacob comes to the party is great. Well, buy his token, everybody. Now people will come to the party.
Yeah, and your participation in different things will be automatically monetizable. Or you can imagine it could be automatically monetizable. That means the music you're listening to, the books that you read, the forums that you answer questions on, you'll be, right now, it's sort of like this labor of love that you're doing. But imagine that you do that, someone upvotes it because they think it's valuable, and now you get a part of the profits of that system. Well, it's going to be ridiculous not to participate in all the things that you're interested in, because you might have 10, 20, 100 minor income streams that pay for everything that you're doing. So the idea that if you meet someone and they only do one thing, and you'd be like, that is the weirdest thing in the world. Like, it's going to be synonymous with being poor. It's going to be like, what are you
Do you
talking
think
about?
people are going to get paid for things like, so Andrew Yang ran for president in 2020. He talked about two things that I'll mention. One, that GDP wasn't an accurate reflection, that we're not calculating it properly, that they've messed around with those numbers, so to get an accurate reading, because you're not actually calculating the true productivity of the country. You're excluding things, and one of the things he talked about was excluding rearing of children. Let's say mothers who are rearing children. It's like, oh, if the woman is working at a company, then she's valuable to society. But if she's staying at home, then her productivity
That's
isn't
exactly
properly
right.
measured.
That's
So
exactly right.
do you think that, like, to be a mother or father will also be tokenized in some way, like
100%.
you're contributing to the welfare of the country or the world?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying we flip a switch and that's what's happening tomorrow. What I'm saying is that it's going to happen sooner than we think. Like,
Mm.
certainly we have to expect that it's going to happen within our lifetimes. And
Mhm.
so you can't be thinking to yourself, only when it's monetizable will I get into the habit of exploring side things and being part of communities and having a side hustle. You have to think about that now, so that you're not the 65-year-old who needs to be retrained on a programming job. You're like, I'll never be able to do that. Like, you don't want that to be the case, because it'll come way faster than people think. The COVID crisis has shown us that how many people had to suddenly learn media.
That's right.
You and I have talked about this, about the TikTok platform. People go, "Oh, you're wasting your time on TikTok." Have you tried to create a TikTok? Have you tried to actually create something that
It's not
people want to
easy.
change? I'm not saying putting something on that has 2 views. I'm talking about creating something that, oh yeah, 50,000 people enjoy. Do you know the difficulty in doing that? You have any idea? It's the same level of difficulty that people had when TVs first came. How do we do something that's interesting on this platform? Don't mistake that for frivolousness. It takes a great amount of effort, timing, understanding of human behavior in order to be able to do that. And you can't tell me that that
Yeah.
skill is not valuable, because people in school, when I started marketing in school, they're like, okay, create this commercial in order to promote this product. Well, that's what they're doing.
For
So
fun.
it's the
Yeah.
same for fun. And
Yeah.
so don't tell me it's not worthwhile. And so the this is what I mean by that the productivity is not being measured. Like, people are not measuring the productivity of TikTok. People are not measuring adding the clothes that home what do you call them, seamstress are selling on Etsy. They're not counting that within the productivity of the nation. And so there's way more out there, far more, and you want to be doing that. You need and the reason I call it, we go with side hustle, is that side hustle is this idea that you're generating an income stream from outside your main job. That's the whole idea of side hustle. And so I really want you to have it in the framework of, how do I make a dollar doing this thing that I love? Like, that's the idea, right? The whole idea of value, monetizable value, plus something that you love. How can I do that? And having that in your mind, you'll eventually scan, and find something that's like, hey, this is calling my attention because I love it. Let me see if there's a way for me to actually turn that into something that's a valuable, provides income stream for me. That, Peter, doing that is it's incredibly difficult, and then when you find it, unbelievably satisfying.
We have a comment here from Alex. He says, "How do I get paid to watch this video?"
Yeah, exactly. So let's say we've applied to get our creator token, right? So let's say we get our creator token, and one of the perks that we give to one of the features of the coin is that uh, if you're subscribed to our Patreon, you get a certain number of coins, and the views that we get on the video, a percentage of the profits of that is redistributed to the people who own the coin. Well, then, not only if you're adding your view to the video, do you incrementally increase the value of your token, telling other people about it also increases the can increase the
Or
value.
helping the content be more interesting with your interaction, your participating will lead to other people wanting to watch it as well, which will lead you getting your dividend, your share
Exactly,
increase.
exactly. And
Oh
so
boy, oh
that's right.
boy, people,
Now, this is not
it's
pie in the
coming.
sky. There are people right now doing this.
We're getting a
Right
token.
now. Yeah. They're doing it, and
We
they're
are.
participating. And I mean, I think I said in one of the previous videos that I bought a bunch of tokens on Rally to just see what the communities are like, and then it went up like 30% in value over 2-3 weeks. Well, the other day it jumped up in value another 43%. All the tokens all of a sudden, so now I'm near 100% profit on these tokens that I wasn't even buying for the purpose of selling them. I just wanted to be to experiment and be part of these communities, and it's increased faster than I thought. Like I thought, this is something that's not. Oh, in 5 years you're gonna have to, when Elon Musk releases his Neuralink, then this will be. It's right now. It's happening.
Well, look,
Right now, it's happening.
I remember when Patreon got released.
Right.
Creators went overnight getting peanuts from YouTube
That's
to
exactly right.
getting what 500 times what they were getting from YouTube.
Peter,
Whatever.
Patreon
Like,
is a few years old. Patreon's a baby. Jack Conte, the guy who made the platform, I was watching his music videos just a few years ago, and now people go, "Oh, of course I'm on Patreon." OnlyFans is even newer than that. This idea of being monetizing what you love to do, this excuse of, oh, there's no point in doing that. You'll never get paid. There's no job in that. That's over. That's what someone who with no ambition and no creativity says, right? It was true 50 years ago, but it wasn't even true when we were in school. It wasn't even true then.
And that's even
And
easier.
so, yeah. And so now it's just and because it's a network effect, it's getting exponentially easier. 20 steps exponential, twice around the world. It's happening so much faster. It's blazing speed that's happening. Insane.
One
Peter, I
thing.
was taking a look at a thing today on Real Vision about this tokenization in recruitment. And so there's a recruitment firm that started, and they were having this huge difficulty that people are applying for jobs and they're lying on their CVs, right? Or they're embellishing things, or they're omitting some stuff. And like even for executive jobs, they have to like go and vet their entire history, like they're the vice president, because they got to suss out what's real or not. Well, imagine if you were tokenized in such a way that the information was tokenized, and it wasn't just your educational history that was stored in this token, but all the things that you did. So you wouldn't have to prove that you're a good video editor. The information that you've made 200 videos on YouTube is tied to it.
Wow.
And all the interaction. So that means that the CV becomes antiquated. You'd have this token that represents you that makes LinkedIn look like a business card. It's actually a token that's like, okay, I don't even need to prove that I can do these things. This token says that this can. There's a recruitment token that says that I can. This is happening now.
I'm very excited about it. Even just my experiences over the last year or so have been very interesting. Like, for example, I've learned. So when you're talking, what I'm seeing is that at some point, like every painting that you draw, every picture that you take, every book that you write, every short story, in some ways will be monetizable. Okay, maybe you're not going to make some great living off of it, but you'll be able to put it into some network or something that will benefit you. What I'm seeing already, and what I've been surprised at, is that, for example, there's people who take pictures. They love taking pictures. All right, how many photographers are there? Okay, you think, how are you going to make a living being a photographer? There's just so many of them. Okay, these people, they take their pictures. They already have a bunch of pictures, hundreds of pictures on their hard drives. So they upload it to a merch site or whatever. They put the picture on a cup. They put the picture on a T-shirt, and they just leave it there, and then they get paid hundreds of dollars, sometimes a month, for just these pictures that they just put online. Sure, not all their pictures sell, but because they have hundreds, only a few of them need to sell, and then they're getting this money. And they're like, I just took the pictures off my hard drive that were just sitting there, and I put them on here. I went on Fiverr. I had to try to find a way to buy a car. And I'm spending all this time trying to figure out to buy a used car, what's a good car, whatever. I go on Fiverr, and there's two guys, okay? One looks fishy, so I went with the other one. There's only one option. But this guy, he's a car enthusiast. He's not a mechanic. He's not an auto salesman. He's just an enthusiast who says, I'm enthusiastic about cars. I can tell you, I can suggest what cars for you to buy. You just give me the sites that you're looking at. I will peruse the site. I will give you three suggestions. And he gave me this whole Excel spreadsheet that had this chart, and I paid him for it. And I was like, this guy, I just paid this guy money to go find me a used car to buy. If you're like an enthusiast out there who just wants to, who has an interest in something, there's somebody else out there who needs your interest. You've already committed the time and energy to it. It's stored there. And in the past, it might be difficult for you to, well, am I supposed to get a page in the yellow pages? I got to get a brick and mortar store. I got to get some license. No, it's just like, I can offer this. The other day, I was like, I want to create a graphic novel. Right, I heard Robert Kirkman. He's a writer. He paired with an artist. He's able to do a graphic novel. Like, I'd like to do a type of graphic novel. You can go on Fiverr. You have great artists who, for them, drawing something is effortless. They're like, yeah, I'll draw you pages. It's $25 a page or whatever they're charging, depending on the complexity of it. You're like, oh, if I wanted to create a graphic novel, all I have to do is write the story, and then somebody else will do all the images.
Exactly.
Like, and that's now. That's not tokenization world. That's like what you can do today. It's absolutely phenomenal what you can get done if you start using your imagination and also experiencing the world, like gaining awareness and experiencing the world so that you know what's out there you're missing. You have, and this is true for me and you, Tom, and everybody who's watching, you have no idea the limit of what you can create out there. You have no clue. Every day I'm discovering more and more things. Every day I'm just so shocked at how people can make a living doing this or make a living doing that. It's absolutely crazy. And the importance of having a side hustle goes well beyond being able to earn a living. It goes well beyond just a job you're going to do. It's mental health. We have a severe mental health crisis in this part of the world. All right. It's because part of it is because people are living a life without purpose, without meaning, and not doing things that they value at all. I remember sitting in a cubicle, typing on my keyboard, writing reports and answering calls. And it would have been fine to do that for something that was worthwhile, but it was just totally monkey work. If you care about your mental health, if you care about how you feel in life, then a side hustle is a great way. It's an excuse to exercise your creativity. It's an excuse to practice all the things that we talk about, to put in practice all the things we talk about with your mind and with your heart. And then it can also have this consequence of making your life more enriching, specifically when it comes to finance. How people can stand not having a side hustle, Tom.
Yeah.
How they could stand. How can you hear the stories of people browsing on Instagram and on YouTube, watching people? I watch a guy, he's reviewing cell phones. And now he's got a great company, 1 million plus subscribers. He's on the news giving interviews about the newest phones. And you're like, this guy is he just started out reviewing. Not only, it's not like he got phones and he reviewed them. He reviewed his own phone and borrowed his friends' phones in order to do this. This was like 10 years ago. And now he's still doing the work. And he's like, he took his hobby, he's just obsessed with phones, and he started reviewing them. How can you stand that other people are making thousands of dollars a month reviewing phones, doing something they enjoy, and you're not doing it? How dare you not have a side hustle? It's mandatory. Okay. I used to think some people have the entrepreneurial spirit and some people don't. And now I'm totally wrong. I think most people would have an entrepreneurial spirit. They just don't feel like they can in this world. They've been programmed to think something differently. I think most of history, human beings were entrepreneurial. I think most of history, you're entrepreneurial. And then now we've gone into the zombie state where people are not engaging with the entrepreneurial spirit. Folks, that's what we need in the society.
For most of history, or as history has gone on, the space between an idea and the ability to execute idea has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That's what technological innovation and creativity does. And so if you wanted to build a house before, you'd have to know how to make your own nails and cut down your own trees and make your own slats and all that sort of thing. And so but now with some YouTube videos, some Instagram accounts, and some extra money for Renault Depot, you can learn architecture. Like you could learn, construction. You can learn how to do that. Peter, the things people have learned how to. You ever scroll through TikTok or YouTube and you're like, you learn how to do this? How? You learn how to do this just because you were watching
Unreal.
videos and you tried it out.
Unreal. Yeah.
So it's like it's brilliant. The space between ability or idea and technology is smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's just getting smaller still. So the excuse now of like, oh, it's what Matt. It's what so in Tolkien lore, in Lord of the Rings lore.
Oh, here we go.
Um, yeah, we know about we know the elves who have that a type of magic, and then you have Sauron and the ring and the orcs and all that sort of thing. And the commentary that Tolkien was trying to make was that Sauron was using the ring, using technology, because it was actually this technology that he learned how to create in order to control, to have power over the world. Whereas the elves use the exact same technology in order to facilitate their daily life, to enhance the things that they were doing. They weren't trying to have control; they were trying to live in harmony with those around them. And one of my favorite scenes is Samwise Gamgee, one of the hobbits, goes up to talks to one of the elves in Lothlorien and says, uh, "Is this rope? I think this is this rope magic." I forget exactly what it is, because is this rope magic? And they're like, magic, I'm not sure what you mean. He's like, well, it does all this amazing things, and it must be magic. They're like, no, that's just like a technique of how to weave. Like, I wish you told me that you were interested in that sort of thing. I could have told you how to do it. And he's like, oh my god. And I always love that distinction that technology is that's double-edged sword that can be used to empower someone or to take power over someone else. And
That's the
so
part I like. I like the taking power over people. That seems like that's my jam. I really like that.
so we have
Sam says, just before you go on, Sam says, yes, y'all are so inspiring. Oh, thank you so much, Sam Samantha Barley, self-discovery life coach.
I tell my stepkids, they'll complain about being bored or not be able to do a certain thing or whatever, or they have a question. I go, did you not look it up online? Did you not use your phone in order to do it? And I go, no. I go, they love Harry Potter, and I go, Harry Potter's wand. Imagine you had Harry Potter's wand or a wizard's wand, and they have to study. They can't just use the one. They have to study the spells and how to do it. And if they do it wrong, bad things happen, or it doesn't work at all. Or if they do it right, it can be really powerful. And I go, this phone you have, this computer you have, is exactly the same thing. It has access to infinite information and allows you to do anything that you could set your mind to, but you have to learn how to use it. And when you sit around going, oh, I'm bored, or I don't want to do it, it's as if you had a magic wand and you're a wizard and you're like, I guess I'll learn how to use it later on. Like this idea that you wouldn't use the magic wand. And people think to themselves, oh, if I had a magic wand, I'd do this. And then they sit around, binging 8 episodes of something on TV, never using the magic box that they have in front of them. It blows my mind. We have magic. We have the closest thing to magic we have ever had on this planet. And the excuse of not doing something is criminal. I mean, shoot yourself.
Right now, what we're talking about is optional to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But what folks don't realize is that in a few years, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 5, it's not going to be optional.
That's right.
You're going to have to do something like this, or you're going to be working for some mega corporation destroying your soul. You want to be an Amazon worker? Because the world's going to be divided between Amazon and Walmart workers, and then the rest of us, living our dreams. It's I want to make that point because I don't want people to hear this and go, maybe later. Like, the urgency has got to be in you right now, because the world is going to be divided between the haves and the have-nots. And when I say haves, I don't mean the material possessions. I mean those people who are living a life that they want to live, and people are living a life because they have to. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be in that club. I don't want you to be in that club. I don't want that world for you. And so what we're talking about now is optional, and learning something when you don't have to. I think that's the best place to start learning it, because you just lost your job and there is no other job in your field to go to, because the reason you lost your job there is the same reason everybody else is losing their job, because it's been taken over by an algorithm or AI or a machine. Well, I'm sorry, you're not going to find another cubicle job. You're not going to find another factory work. You're not going to find another truck to drive. Right now it's optional. It's gonna be over, right? And this is not some doomsday thing. I think it's wonderful that a lot of jobs that I think it's wonderful, this opportunity for people to learn and for us to change society, to change what it means to work. And part of what I consider to be a flaw in our society is this work play division that we have, where it really shouldn't be a division between work and play, that work and play should be combined, that the thing you would do naturally, that you do for fun, you would be compensated for doing it. Right now, a lot of what falls into the fun category seems kind of meaningless because that's kind of how we've designed things. But there will be games that when you play that game, you will be changing the physical world. They're going to be creating games that will help us solve problems, invent things. I remember a few years ago they released this thing. There's some, I don't know all the details, some genetic folding, something with gene folding or something like that, cellular folding, some type of folding thing. And so they were trying to figure out how to get this done. This was, I don't know, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, I think it was, something like that. They're trying to solve this problem, this complex problem that was difficult for even a computer to solve. So then they made a game, a folding game, and then they released it to the public. And they said, hey, everybody, play this game. Anybody who's interested in this folding puzzle game, play it. And then a housewife in some town solved the puzzle by folding it. She's just a housewife who was interested in it, and she folded it, and it was the solution that they were looking for the business, like for the thing they had to do. Right? It was just a silly game that she was playing. It was just a folding game that was fun. It was an example of crowdsourcing a solution. Using a game. I remember listening to Kelly McCognigal. I think it's Kelly McCognigal. I always mix it up. Samuel, tell me who's the game lady. And she says they created a game to solve. I think it was the oil crisis or something like that. Where
that was with kids.
That's right. They were teaching them how to sort of solve problems, how to geopolitical things, and it's like when
kids.
you play.
There was 8, 9-year-olds or something like that,
trying to figure out how, like, if this happened, how would you solve this thing? It's a lot of games like The Sims, and you play board games like The Risk. Like, these are strategy games, world building games. Well, we're raising a generation of kids who are just prepared to use all their game making skills in order to really change the world. GameStop is one of these things, right? These are gamers who figured out how to game the system. That's what gamers do. They're sitting around going, oh, these points, and how do I get these points? And if I go here, and if I cheat here, and I go that. They use the same principles they learn in playing games to game the system of
Peter,
points.
the CEO
that is actually dollars.
of Rally was a video game or owned a video game company, and he's like, "Oh no, this other thing. This is like amazing." He made the successful company, and then he sold it, and now he's doing this other thing. Like, he understood. He's like, "Oh, they're not getting this. People are thinking this crypto thing is about Bitcoin and making a lot of money. That's not what it is. This is about unlocking creativity and productivity. That's what this game is all about."
Absolutely. The name is Jane McCognigal. Thanks, Sam. They're twins, so I had to get things.
It's Jane McGonigal, Peter.
Jane McGonigal. What did I say?
McChronicle?
Oh, maybe I messed it up. Jane McGonigal. It's on the screen.
I'm so embarrassed for you. It's like so hard. Like watching American Idol. I'm getting hot under the collar.
Oh man, that's another thing that's gonna be fun. Monetizing, like auditioning for a show like American Idol. And like, hey, they should all get paid. Like, why aren't they getting a cut of that money? Anyway,
Alan Watts says that there is no such thing as having true enjoyment of something without having development discipline. And I love his example of that he lives in a boat on the marina, and he sees all these rich people with yachts that they never take out because all the effort that they put in order to get the money to buy the yacht, they never put in the effort in order to learn how to sail. And so it's just this thing that sits on the dock that they have parties in. And he goes, you cannot really truly enjoy, you cannot enjoy playing a violin unless you learn how to play the violin. You cannot learn how to be a good basketball enjoy really playing basketball unless you learn how to play basketball. Like the joy that you have in something is not an indication that it's frivolous. It's indication that you have an edge, a propensity to be able to do this thing. And it tells you that you should focus on it more not on your free time or less. More you should be paying attention to it. And in so doing, it is impossible not to develop skills and discipline as you pursue it. It's really quite fascinating.
And maybe before it would have been hard to find some way to monetize that to make that a part of your life. But the world has already changed if you don't know, and it's going to be changing even
Peter, if
more.
people
Don't get
were
left
upset
behind.
watching a little Bow Wow on MTV Cribs because they're like, "Oh my God, this guy got this huge mansion and all that," and oh God, I'll never have that. You can make your excuse for yourself. Well, I'm not particularly attractive. I'm not a good singer. I'm not a good entertainer. So of course, I don't want to have that house. When you're seeing just regular Joe Blows living their life. I'm not saying they have to be rich, but living comfortably and not worried where the next money's coming from, and being able to flip from creative endeavor to creative endeavor, and you're not. Oh, it's gonna be like having MTV Cribs with everyone around you who's who has what you could have had. Oh, God, pain, pain of that. I don't want to be there 10 years from now and go, oh my God, how I did it? How come I didn't participate in this? Jesus Christ.
I, re- I really love the references you're bringing up. Samwise Ganji, Little Bow Wow, MTV Cribs. It's so
And
funny.
Harry
You can
Potter. Don't
tell.
forget Harry
And
Potter.
Harry Potter. That's right. I think.
I'm
I
black,
think
yo, from the streets.
for the streets, right? Harry Potter, man. My wand is made out of Gucci. No. All right.
Hardcore Feanor in the house.
All right. We're coming to the end here. Sam says just get some Bitcoin. Oh, also get some Bitcoin. Also
Also
get some
get
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yes,
Also get some Bitcoin.
or
That's
Ethereum.
very
Get
cool.
Ethereum.
All right, we're at the end of our hour here. We're at 55 minutes. We're doing good today. We have our last thing to tell people, and that's the homework. You had some homework for them, I think you came up with.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to go out and actively try to explore different communities. Like really dip your toe in and see what those communities are doing. But I also want you to make some money. So I want you to go to rally.com/creator. Rally.io/creator. And you're going to see a list here of a bunch of people who have creator tokens. These are the community where your participation is rewarded with higher value for your tokens. I want you to go here and I just sort it by price or whatever it is, and go and check out the Twitch channel. Check out check out what they're doing. So if you click on any one of them, let's say you click on Ali right now, Peter, on the left side. You'll be able to see, and then you click on twitch.tv/Ali, whatever it is, right underneath. Yeah, exactly. You'll be able
If
to
I
see
click,
the sort of things that they're
I don't
doing.
know if it's going to open up another tab. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
hang on, give me a second. You want me to show that tab?
Yeah.
All right, give me a second.
I really want you to go into these communities, hunt through them, and see what they're creating. Watch what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying you need to do what they're doing or anything like that. I just want you to see that these people are doing their best to put out something that they think is valuable and useful or entertaining. And I want you to really keep in mind that they have a token, that the value of their token on Creator Coin is proportional to the productivity, the value that people are getting from the community. Now, you won't necessarily know in detail what all that means. But what might happen is that in this list of 100 or whatever creators that are there, that's always a growing list, you might find one that you're like, oh, this tickles me. I like the way that this person speaks. So I didn't know this industry even existed. Let me check it out. Let me explore it, and subscribe to them and participate. Buy their token, right? Actually, buy their token and spend a week, a month, 6 months, whatever, participating in that community. And as you do, understand that you are doing exactly what we're talking about,
Can you
participating in
tell
a
me?
network effect.
Can you tell me
And
what this is? So we see Ali here, and we see her creator name. Supporters. These are how many people has purchased her token,
exactly. Those are the number of people who
and
hold their token.
the supporter volume. What's this?
That's just as a token is used to buy things, to transact, bought and sold. This is the amount of money that's passed through this token,
I see, and
and each token right now is worth $46, $46 and a half.
and do I get anything when I hold this token? It's just perks, or do I get any money? How do I get money for? How
So
does
the
this make people
community will
money?
tell you what, like, it's up to Ali here to explain to you how this token is going to be used within the community, right? So there's the next step you have to take in order to find out how they're actually using it. But just by owning it, whether you use it or not, if other people are, the token will go up in value, and you accrue that value to yourself. Like
And
literally,
can you
you can
sell that
sell.
token
Yes,
to the community?
exactly.
So
You can
when,
sell
if
it
I want to
back
buy
to
an
Rally.
Ali token, if I'm buying an Ali token, am I buying a token from another person who held that token?
Well, either that or from Ali or from a pool of tokens that are available there. There's a liquidity that's being provided. Like, anyways, I'm not going to go
So I
into
can
details
sell
of
it
that.
back
But
to Rally. I can sell it
yeah,
back to Rally.
Rally promises to buy back the token from you, but there are what's called flow controls. So that people don't use this purely for speculative means.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for example, someone comes in and buys uh, uh, all the tokens available on a given, or a bunch of tokens available for a new creator who just started, pump up the price to 300% above what it is, and then when it gets there and people start buying it, they sell it all and take a profit. And all of a sudden the price plummets and all that sort of thing. They don't want to do that. And so when you buy a token, you can't sell it right away. This is like period of time, depending on how many tokens you have and how much you're engaged in the community or whatever, that uh, that limits how soon you can sell that token back. So don't buy these tokens thinking I'm looking to flip this for a profit. Buy it to see what it's like when a token, a cryptocurrency, increases in value in response, or decreases in value in response to the vibrancy of the community. So it takes some effort, but buying the token is really important, because it's not enough just to watch it. I watched this for months, and it was only when I bought it actually and saw the value of it change over time. I was like, oh, wait a second, something's really happening here. In fact, when I bought a token, I saw the token go down in value, trend lower in value, and then I saw the sort of things that the creator was doing online. They weren't posting regularly, or what their content wasn't good value, or whatever it is. You go, oh, okay, it is responding to the community directly, whether it goes up or down. So buy the token a little bit, whatever. Buy one token, who cares? But buy it with the intention of exploring that community and participating with it.
This has been a super fun episode, Tom. I feel so
Yeah,
excited. I cannot wait for our token, and that people can join our community.
that's right.
If you're interested in what we're doing, you can go to facebook.com/happy for a change. You can join the Happy for a Change audience. It's right there. It's free. It just costs a little bit of your soul, but you weren't really using that, were you? You can also head over to youtube.com/happy for a change and subscribe to us on YouTube. It really helps us grow, helps other people find us, and hit that little bell so that you know when we go live or when we upload a video. We're doing it very often. If you go over right now, you're going to see there's a ton of content for you to peruse. Jumpstart is a series, we call it a digital salon with Tom Hartman, marketer and programmer, and Peter, just some dude, no, entrepreneur and comedian, motivational speaker here. And we want to give you edifying conversations, right? Instead of sitting down in a boring class where you're just going to be listening to lectures, this is an opportunity for you to listen to a conversation that will improve your life, that will help you to jumpstart things, whether it's in business or your personal experience, and that is
And make money.
organic.
That's
And you can make
important to
some
me.
money.
Yeah.
And interact with us. We love your interactions. We read all your comments. Anything that's appropriate, we'll put it up on the screen, of course. And if you have any comments or questions, please message us. If you want to support what we're doing, head over to patreon.com/happy for a change. For as little as $5 a month, you can support us. At $5, you will even get access to our Telegram group, where we have text chat and voice group chats. So if you want to be a part of that process, you want to ask us questions, if you want us in your pocket to stay motivated, get information, ask any question that you want, right? You're trying to what should I make a website? How should I do? I'm a social media influencer. How can I get followers? Whatever it is that comes to mind. How do I stay motivated? How do I get off my butt and get stuff done? You can put us in your pocket with our Telegram group. It's the Jumpstart Live. Well, that's it for me. Tom, did you have something you wanted to show? Is that it? What are you looking at?
Went out. 1 second.
Yeah, your microphone went out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're ending the show. I heard you just now, so let's do our little. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for everybody who's.
I'm Tom.
Thank you so
Hartman.
much for everybody who's. I'm Peter Hartman, and this is Jumpstart. All right, take care. Thank you for watching, everybody. Super grateful. Thank you. Take care.